You know what time it is. It's your favorite social media coach, Melle Howard. Coach Melle in the building with your favorite cool uncle, Uncle Flood, and they're going to take you inside the game. So sit down, relax, get your favorite beverage, and hang as they take you across the SWAC, especially in Southern University football and professional sports as they talk Monday Night Football here on Inside the Game. All right, let's get into it.
Hey, Unc, how are you?
I'm amazingly good.
I've been better. I've been better. We had an interesting weekend. And so, as everyone knows, it was Boombox weekend. But instead of starting with the game, tell me your high point from the weekend, Unc.
The tailgating was wonderful. It was good to see people and be out and about and hang out and everything. You know, crowd was wonderful. It was a good energy. So, that was the highlight of the weekend for sure.
I think same. It felt like homecoming. Before we went into the stadium for the game, the energy on campus, the energy leading up to the weekend was really just positive, solid, good energy. And so, shout out to the Jaguar Nation for showing up and showing out.
The township turned into a nation.
The nation, it was a nation. It was not a township. I love when the student section becomes a standing room only and they start to stand behind the top row. And I mean, it just felt like old Mumford. So it was beautiful to see, to be a part of. Just a shout out to everyone who had an opportunity to be there and celebrate with us as we hosted Boombox. People talk about it not liking it in Baton Rouge, but I think this is one of the better Boomboxes, like overall, just in general.
I love it in Baton Rouge. I love it being a home and home series. I love it in both places. I think it brings out the best in both fan bases, the best in both bands, the best in both teams. I love it in playing it at home and home.
Yeah. The outcome was the outcome. Final score: Jackson State 38, Southern 13. Unc, what are your initial thoughts? And this show is going to be all about us hearing from you guys. So feel free to drop in the chat your questions, your thoughts, your concerns, the things that you want us to address and talk about. But
I was hopeful, but I wasn't surprised. I mean, this team is what it is. Like I hear people saying we're not a bad team. Yeah, we're a bad team. You are what your record says you are. We have talent. They just aren't being coached well. No, we're not as talented as we think we are. We have some talented players, but overall, we're not a talented team. Overall, we're not a well-coached team. We're in it, and I'm not saying that to denigrate, but it's just what it is. Like your record is who you are. The way you play is who you are. And we don't play well. We have moments where we show promise and we do things, but we don't do anything well. There's nothing that people can point at and say that we do anything well that we could just go to consistently. We don't tackle well. We have moments where we play well on defense, but overall we don't play well on defense. We run the ball. We have moments where we run the ball well, but we don't do it consistently. We have moments. Really, those are the only two things that we do well enough that you can say, okay, I can see something out of that. Everything else, we don't do well, and we're not a good team. That's not saying we can't become a good team, but right now we're not a good football team. We don't play well. We're not a very talented team. That's not going to change, by the way. Our talent, the talent that we have has to play above their heads for us to be a quality football team. So far, we hadn't gotten that so far. And our coaching staff hasn't coached up to par. So therefore, our record is what it is, and we are who we are.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks to say and to see and to be real about it, because there was so much optimism coming into the season about what we could be. And to your point, I don't think we are playing like a bad football team right now. just in all phases of the game.
Yes.
And I think there were moments at the game on Saturday where the distinction between being good and not good were clear.
Yes.
Were moments that I think
on everybody's part.
On everybody's part, not just players, not just coaching, on everybody's part. There were moments where a good team would have found a way. There were moments, to your point, where we showed, like, man, if we could just get this consistently,
yes,
the team could be something special. But we are not playing like a good football team. I feel like players are executing in ways and not chances that they can execute. I don't feel like coaching is managing the game well at all. There were so many moments that I felt like if we had good game management, that we could have been looking at a different outcome.
It was a lot of overcoaching going on. I don't mean to step on you, but it's like, it was like just a lot of overcoaching going on, in particular on special teams, doing stuff that was just overcoaching and unnecessary.
Overcoaching and unnecessary. And I think we'll go into the specifics of the game shortly. But yeah, I think that's just my initial thoughts. It's just like, man, like, and I guess the question that we ask ourselves every time I leave the game, the first question I ask myself is like, what is it going to take so that the things that we see in the moments could actually become consistent across the board? Because it's like we had a great first defensive drive. I mean, great first defensive drive.
Good first half.
Good first half.
For the most part. I'll go back on that. I retract that statement.
Yeah. Because, I mean, there were moments again where you see, and I mean, I feel like the team was inspired to play. Like, I feel like they came out with energy. They came out with, ready to play. But it quickly.
I think this team is psychologically, they're traumatized. Like, they fully expect to find a way to lose a game. Like, they fully expect, and it becomes self-fulfilling prophecy. They find a way to lose games, and they expect to find a way to lose games, and that also makes you a bad team. Derek said the question, why don't you change the culture by changing coaches? I'm sorry. Well, when should we do that, Derek? And how quick do you think that? I mean, when should they? If this is, I'm gonna tell you something. For the athletic director, this is a nightmare scenario. It's a nightmare scenario. You can't change coaches right now. And like, I know people get emotional and say, "Oh, they should fire Graves right now," and go where? Hire who? Are you really want to put the team in the hands of one of his assistants? And I like those guys, but let's be honest.
I mean, and I think that Saturday was my first moment, because I am on in the Coach Melle report. I specifically say that there has to be some kind of shift. What the shift looks like, who makes the shift, who makes the changes, I don't know. Saturday was the first day that I went from, we've had this debate last time about what we would do after the Alabama State game. Saturday was the first day that I said not one of them on that staff, on that sideline, need to be here next. I mean, and it's because it's just like, at some point, like, it's embedded into the culture of operations. Like, no one has took a step back to say, what are we doing as leaders of this unit? What are we doing?
It's like they all believe in the same thing, and it's not working, but they all believe in it faithfully. And you're like, what are y'all seeing? What's making y'all, is I hear people say, it's always been this Caldwell, make Fred McNair the coach. Fred McNair, so you're going to go away from the 55-year-old guy and hire the 60-year-old guy who didn't win his last 4 years at Alcorn. Like, Fred McNair beat us, but he didn't beat everybody else. So who else on the staff are you going to make the interim if you get rid of Graves? As I was saying, it's a nightmare scenario for the athletic director. And part of it is his fault. He makes the hire. I mean, the buck stops with him and the board of supervisors, because they're very heavy-handed in the picking of coaches. But this is the scenario that's a very good possibility. We lost to Jackson State. We're 1-4 now. We're 1-4. Everybody else on the schedule is beatable for this team. They could very well go through the schedule and run the table and win the West. They could very well go through, win the West, and run the table and be back in the SWAC championship again to get their ass whooped by to get their butts whooped by Jackson State.
Well, I don't think it's going to be Jackson this year, but
it could be could be Alabama State.
Yeah, man, Alabama State look like a different caliber of team week to week, and they consistently do it. But I mean, I think that's the unfortunate part that we find ourselves in as a fan base, like with so much yet to still play for, but knowing what we haven't been able to put together consistent run. To your point, it's not impossible, but it feels like
I don't want to play for that. I don't want us there. I don't want us there.
I disagree.
I don't want us there. I don't want to go back to the SWAC championship. I don't want any of that. You know what I want? I want a new program. I want us to come in and clean house. I want to tank. Please tank. I know we're not going to do that. I know that's not going to happen, but please tank. Like, I just want us to come in and clean house and start over.
But the thing about it is, I think that that's the damn if you do, damn if you don't part, which is why I don't want us to tank, is because there has to be someone in leadership that can shift the culture. We can tank and we have to reset, but we are resetting with the same group of people in the same mindsets.
But that's why you have to get rid of everybody. Like, if you tank, you are forced to get rid of everybody. Like, the athletic director is forced to clean house in the football program.
And I think that's my issue, though, because even if, let's say, we tank and Coach Banks is the one who has to make the ultimate decision to recalibrate the program, there still needs to be a mindset shift. Like, we know that Roman is not going anywhere. You've been clear about that. Everybody has been there, but someone has to fit. Because if it's like me saying, I've been married for all these years and I need to rethink the type of husband that I can be. If I haven't done any of the internal work to change my mind, I'm going to go out and pick the same kind of partner, and it's still not going to be any difference in the marriage. So it's like, we have to take a collective step back. If Roman is not going anywhere, which we know that's not happening, like, what do we want for the program, and how do we make decisions that are different from what we're doing? Because we literally did this. We got Graves, we got Dooley, and we literally hired the same kind of coach. And so, like, we had a newness, but it was nothing different about it. And so that's the frustration.
Well, this is the thing, and I'll give a little inside ball. I'm sure you might know some of these things too, Jamel. But inside ball is, Roman this is not what Roman wanted. Mm-hmm. This is what, and I've just put it out there, a lot of this fell on the previous board. That this is not what he wanted. He talked to some real I shouldn't say real coaches. He talked to some more experienced head coaches, veteran coaches who are culture changers. He interviewed them. Yeah. And basically the response was, Coach, I would love to come for the money that you're offering for me, but I need money for staff. And until we change that, this is what we're going to be. I mean, you think about this. We have we have men who are 50, 60 years old who are veteran coaches who are coaching for $60,000 a year. You get, I hate to say it, it sounds cliche, but I really hate to say it, but you get what you pay for.
Yeah, and I think but that's what I think for the collective decision making of. I mean, I think all programs have been at that pivotal point of deciding, like, what do we want to do? And every program who's taken the next step level has taken some risk around how they want to be the next iteration of their program. And so for us as fans, as alum, as supporters of the program, like, it's bigger than the game against Jackson State. It's bigger than losing or winning or et cetera. So the question I have to us as a collective is, what are we willing to do to get different results? Because everybody wants to win, but are we doing the intimate, intentional actions that create a winning program? And the answer collectively from the top down will be, right now for football, the answer is no. Like, so how are we going to shift that mindset? Otherwise, we'll hire you, and it'll be the same results.
No, it won't. I promise you it won't. I promise you it will not be the same result. I promise you. It will not be the same result.
For head coach. And I think that's part of the mindset shift. Like, we can't say that we're willing to pay a head coach all this money. And to your point, I was aware of some of the other candidates that were introduced. I even had an opportunity to speak with some of them. Yes. And one of the first questions that they said was like, I would love to come, to your point, but about the money for the assistant. So that means that there's a culture shift. If we want to have a winning program or winning coaches, we have to shift the culture on how we allocate funding in order for them to bring in the resources that are necessary to be successful. It's not rocket science, but mindset shift is the hardest thing for people to engage in. And so we can complain and get on Facebook every day after every game and say this and this and that. But until we collectively say that we're going to put our money where our mouth is, we're going to get the same results. It is a new evolved evolution of athletics and running athletic programs. And we cannot have the same 1990s Pete Richardson era mindset and think that we're going to win in 2025. That is bullshit.
Exactly.
Face.
And just like we said, we playing inside ball, so we might as well play. Just like I know, they actually have a program for NIL for student athletes to get paid. But other than maybe 2 or 3 guys on this team, who would you spend NIL money on? Those are like people say, well, Southern needs to get in the NIL game. Those are the culture shifts that we make. I talked to recruits this weekend, and I think you got a chance to meet some too. I talked to them, but I got a chance to talk to them away from the visit.
Yeah.
And to a man, to a young man, to a parent. I talked to 7 kids. I talked to their parents. All of them want to come to Southern. But you know what their biggest holdup is? Their biggest gripe? The coaching staff is too old. They don't know how to interact with young people.
And that's part of like just the cultural shift. And it is not about like young, old, because I think that the blended wisdom of young and old is what is actually going to take everything to the next level.
Yes.
But reality for them is like, you have to have a level of it. Even now, like with the team that you have to be able to reach them to actually get them to put into place what you're trying to get them to put into place in order to have or see or reap success. And that's what I said in my Coach Melle report this week. I know that there has to be a culture shift, but I don't know who I would, if they gave me a magic wand and say, find somebody on the staff, on the team right now who's going to be the leader to shift the culture of what's next for the program, I don't know who I would pick.
There is no one.
Because it doesn't feel like there's no one that has taken that leadership to do that. And that is the frustrating part as a fan, as a supporter, who's going to continue to support the student athletes, because that's just who I am. That's what I do. Yep. But again, leadership has to decide, and that's in any sport. When things are not going right, that's when the floodgates open. Like, you have to address all of the issues. When you win, you can hide some of the stuff, but when you're not winning, you have to address them. And no one in leadership has proven or has done anything that makes me feel like, oh, they get it. They're at least starting to shift their mindset to be intentional about what they want for this program. Yeah. You can't want different and continue to do the same thing over and over.
You know what? I had a traumatizing flashback listening to Coach Graves' press conference.
I turned it off. Go ahead.
I flashed back to Coach Dooley but it's that mindset. Like, you can't BS us. You can't BS us. You can't tell us, oh, we're going to go to practice and we're going to work on this. No, you're not. You can't BS us. Like, we know this. Like, fans are too smart. Fans watch too much football, especially your diehard fans. Football is literally on every day of the week, damn near. People are more progressive. They know more. You can't BS the fans. And I say this time and time again. We need media training. We need media training. You cannot keep going in front of the media and saying the same crap over and over again and expect people to buy into it. People are tuning you out because you're lying to them, and they see you lying. We see you. We see you.
I literally turned the press conference off because there's a couple things that I had this conversation today with one of our past national alumni presidents about the relational aspect of running the program and then the accountability aspect of running the program. People feel like if you're friends or relational with somebody, you can't hold them accountable. And I think that that's bullshit. But In that
obviously, I think it's BS.
I'm sorry, I'm being very frank.
Yes, obviously, I feel the same way.
But the other piece of that though is that when you have a leader that's in place, that is in charge, that is their role. Like their role is to not only hold a level of accountability for themselves and to the program that they're in charge of running, but also the accountability to the people who support it and make it go out. And that's literally, it's like a script. No matter what happens in the game, you already know verbatim what's coming out of the press conference. And it's like, I literally for the first time turned off the post-game commentary because it's like, bro, we literally for 4 weeks, 5 weeks have been hearing the same thing. So somewhere there's a disconnect. Even if you're saying it's right, it's a disconnect because
I'm gonna tell you something. I feel like our games are scripted because it's the same thing every week. When we threw that interception going into halftime, you know what my thought was? Boy, if we could just get out of here. I wasn't even thinking about kicking the field goal and scoring a touchdown. If we could just get out of here with a halftime lead, that's going to change the whole scope of the game. I wasn't even, when we threw that interception, I was like, okay. And it was like the players were like, oh yeah, here we go. This is script. This is a script.
Yeah, I mean, when I thought it was the most script, and I think I saw Eric on here, and he posted this, and I was like, man, that literally, my friend sitting on the side of me literally slid out his chair, sat on the concrete, and just threw his shakers because it was to your point of script. But when we threw that interception, when we got the running into the kicker, and they got the ball back, when we were in that crazy, like less than a minute to go, these people got to go 85 yards down the field, and we biting on screenplays, like protect the end zone. To me, I'm like, bro, what are they seeing that I'm not an expert, okay, by any stretch of the imagination? But what the hell are you? Something wasn't translating.
We have two players who are consistent on defense, and when either one of them are out, our defense is terrible. If Horatio Johnson or Trey Southern Labs, Trey Brister. If Trey Herman Brister the third, Trey Brister is out, or Horatio Johnson is out, our defense is terrible. When we gave up that big play, I knew where to look. I looked back, I saw who was in the game. I'm not gonna call them names or numbers, but I was like, oh, okay, that explains it. When the games with Herman Brister was out hurt, we were terrible on defense. Those are the two guys. Those are the only two guys on our defense who can consistently make plays.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, I guess that's the frustrating part is like some of the things are like preventable. And even like when we threw the interception, we know that the running game has, been decent. Like it's second down. Like even if anything else, like run as much clock as possible. So even if there is something crazy that happens, like you give them as limited time. It's like we consistently like manage the game in a way like we're managing some like side peewee game on the side of the street. It's like, bro, do y'all see the clock? Do you see like we're up? Like that is literally a game-changing moment. As opposed to going up or going into half with a lead with an extended field goal, you literally flip the entire game.
But that falls on players too, because think about this. We had literally just come out of a timeout when he threw the interception.
Yeah.
We had literally come out of the timeout, and I had to give Coach Graves a break because they literally told him, protect the football, don't turn the ball over.
Yeah. I mean, you got a young, but I mean, again, you got a young player. Hell, hand it off 4 times, and at least at minimum, we run the clock out and we have a lead going into the halftime.
Thank you. If we kick a field goal or whatever, yeah.
If you happen to run it in, great. If you don't, great. I mean, there was another time when we come out of a timeout, we call a timeout, and immediately after the timeout, we get an illegal substitution penalty. Bro, what are we doing? Like that to me is mental lapse in leadership.
Sometimes it's just football follies. It really is. It's like the old show that used to come on the old NFL show, Football Folly Show. Can you believe that the Jaguars came out of a timeout and got a penalty soon as they hit the frozen tundra of Mumford Stadium?
I mean, again, like, there's so many things that we could like go like in like the nitty-gritty details, but like I think for me those are like game-changing moments. My other moments, and I would love to hear some of yours, was when it was 24-13 in the fourth quarter. We're down by 11. We dodged a bullet. They like miss a field goal, get a penalty or whatever. We get the ball back. It's 4th and 1. And this is prior to us. I mean, coach in the press conference said that he asked for the measurement. I thought he had a first down. From my vantage point, it looked like the kid had a first down. I thought they would at least measure it. They didn't. Anyway, that's there. Fourth quarter, 24-13. Down.
That's usually because it's coming from the press box to tell him that he's short. The review people are reviewing and they're telling him he's short by where he. So that's why you don't get a measurement on that.
I do. I still think he had it. But anyway, needless to say, whatever. That we get past that. 24-13, fourth quarter, 4th and 1. Every time we give Jackson State the ball, they are sustaining like 6 and 7 minute drives. You're down by 2 scores. You're like 35, 40 yard line. At that point, we're in 4-down territory no matter where we are on the field. Because if you give Jackson State the ball, you've conceded the game.
Well, we do that all the time.
Wanted that ball, I said we literally just conceded the entire game.
Yeah, like we've done that for weeks. We've done that a lot. And my thing is, we make decisions that just don't make sense. On the play that you're talking to, you referred to before, where it was like 3rd and 6. All right, that's considered 3rd long. You run the ball, you get the 5.5 yards. Say you get 5.5 yards. That play call is saying I'm willing to go for it on 4th down if I'm running the ball on 4th and 6.
Mm-hmm.
And I pick up 5.5 yards. That means on 4th down, I'm running it back up there to get this half yard. You don't turn around and then punt the ball.
Yeah, I mean, and it was just like, bro, like, because we knew, like, when it was 24-13, I'm like, if we have any inkling of like making the momentum, something the ball finally bouncing our way, we have to go for it. Because if we punt this ball with 11 minutes to go, Jackson State is going to spend 7 minutes of it, or they're going to score and we're done. They got the ball back, they score, we got the ball back with 6 minutes to go, and now down 31-30. Like, we do stuff that's just like, to me, there should be someone who's just job is the game manage.
This whole game, but see, to me, I felt like this whole game started out because I think last week I said, on my live, I said if we win the toss, we should take the ball on offense and go down and score. No, what do? You're 1-3. Why are you doing the same thing over? You go back on defense. Okay, it worked out, but it didn't, because it's the same thing over and over and over again. We should have been pulling out all of the stops. It should have been balls to the walls, whatever it took to win the football game.
We were on the same page, because as soon as that we flipped the coin and we won the toss, I reached over and I see my friend Jason is in the chat. I said, Jason, we should have took the ball. He was like, well, I was like, because we need to set the momentum right now. And the only way in football to score is if you have the ball, unless you get some free defensive play that becomes a scoop and score, a pick six or whatever. We take the ball, you march down the field, you already changed the mindset of your entire team. Even if you don't score, if you show that you have the momentum of the game, it's just like, why would we do that? Like, what are we protecting? Like, it's just those kind of things that are.
It's the same old mindset. It's the same. I'm going to do what I know how to do, and that's what we're going to do. We're not going to do anything different. And let me tell you something. Jackson State did everything they could in the first half to give us the game.
They did.
They did everything they could do in the first half.
Like, we had a block punt.
And in the third quarter, they did everything they could do to give us the game.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, so I guess, any other moments of the game that you want to talk about before we talk about?
But this is, I just saw what Chris just posted about professional development. Look, man, some people just are who they are. These coaches go to clinics, professional development, all of these things. These are not inexperienced coaches. They are experienced. They go to the conventions. They go all the things that you see other coaches go to who are successful. These coaches have been a part of it. But you know what? Sometimes you just are what you are. And sometimes the game passes you by.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what people, I agree. In any sector of work, though, there is evolution that happens in the jobs that we do every day.
Yes.
If you don't change your mindset, you get laid off.
Thank you.
You know, there is something that shifts. Like when you're talking about your bottom line in the corporation, like it's all about profit. And so what you used to do to get profit 10 years ago is no longer producing profit. You have to shift or you get left behind. I think it's just that, and that's what pisses me off the most about these press conferences and these questions. And it's like, there is no like accountability outside of saying what you always say. And obviously, even if you don't know what to do, like get somebody to come in and help you. Like think about like how do I think about this differently? I've tried this 5 weeks in a row and nothing is translating on game day. So if y'all having great practices, great, but it's not translating on game day. So what do you need to do?
And what are great practices to you?
Yeah.
What are great practices? Yeah. What are great practices?
It's the same thing. We had great practice this week. There was high energy. Players are ready. Saturday, we fix what we was fixable, and we're gonna work hard at doing it. That's the Dooley mantra. Dooley said the same thing in his press conference after every week, after every game. So you know, and again, it's nothing against Coach Graves because I think Coach Graves is a hell of what this is, a fine young man. That's a great gentleman. But it's like something has to be, as the leader of your organization, there has to be some shift, because what you continue to put out every day is disappointing to someone who goes to games, spends my own money to travel to support the institution in the game. Like, we want to see a different product. I have a friend who drives from Pensacola, Florida every week to support. And so it's like people want us to be successful. And even if, and it's not, to me, it's not about just losing. It's the operational way of how we lose.
And before somebody in the athletic department decides to say, well, Flood is on the sideline, he gets sideline passes. Yeah, I do, but I also buy 5 season tickets. Look it up. That go to family and friends. Look it up. So, you know, there's that. But yeah, you're right. We are invested in this program. It's not like we're just on here talking and not invested in. We are invested in this program, and we want to see it be successful. And the things that we see, and we're also professional people who work in a professional world, and we know things that work to be successful and things that don't work when you're not successful. And if you're not changing those things, and especially when you're having lots of failure, if you are making dramatic changes, because you aren't on the news flash. We aren't on the borderline of being a good program. We aren't on the board. We're way away from being a good program. And I think maybe this week, maybe they should just take them somewhere else and take them away from Baton Rouge. Don't put them on the road recruiting. Take them away somewhere and go watch what actual good football looks like.
Well, I mean, I think that's what it boils down to. Is like there has to be something, and I see the Fran's point. We'll talk about that in a second. Yes. But there has to be something that's done different, and we experienced this, like, you know, last year with the baseball team, and like, you know, they were just not doing well, and you know, we had this like team build, something that had nothing to do with baseball.
Yes.
Like, we went in and we saw people as people. And figured out how do you work well with other people? We do this at work. We just came from a wellness retreat with my job. And it wasn't about anything that we're like substantially doing for work. But it's like, who are you as a person? What works well for you and your development? And so there has to be something like that, to where it's like, it's not about football. Like, do we know each other? What is the misalignment? Because if you're saying we're preparing the way we are and it's not translated, there needs to be some shift. And if we continue, we're going to get the same results, and we might not win another game if we don't shift something around.
Exactly. And like DeFran said, at some point, you know, it's easy to blame. Yeah, it's easy to blame the coaches, but you know, the players have culpability in this. But the fact is, when you're the coach, you get the blame when you're not having success. Yeah. And if the players aren't executing, which I've said that 1,000 times about the players not executing, that still comes down to the coach.
Yep.
Because either, number one, you haven't recruited well, you are making good choices when it comes to your depth chart, or you are putting the players in position that they need to be successful. Yep. So and in this case, I think it's all 3 of those things. And
that's my thing, is like, if you have, first of all, these are the players that you recruited. You have put them in position to play, to be successful. So at the end of the day, like, if they're not executing, like, what are the shifts that you're making? Like, how are you? I mean, obviously we saw a new quarterback play, but like, what are the other things that you are doing for development? Because I still believe we have talent. To your point, it may be minimal, but I believe that there's talent. And if someone is showing themselves over and over again not to be putting you in a position to be successful, what does it look like to change somebody? I've seen it happen at all levels. Like, this player is not producing. Guess what? We about to play somebody. Figuring it out. And I just feel like we have the same attack for problems, and the solution is not shifting, but we keep the same attack. And so the problem is going to exist. It's like me saying I need a new heart and you go give me new lungs. Yeah. That ain't what I need.
And I'll say like in that game, we've had issues at corner the whole season, right? So they put a redshirt freshman out there. He gets burned on a play over the top, but he also made a really good tackle. He also had a pass breakup, and he also he also got really blown up on that touchdown that they called back on a blindside block. But I would rather have a red shirt freshman out there giving up a big play than some guy that we recruited that's supposed to be a D1 transfer out of the portal giving up the same big plays 4 or 5 weeks in a row. Why? That's what I'm talking about, personnel changes. And then coach says, well, our big gun was out, so we had a red shirt freshman in. The red shirt freshman is playing better.
Yeah. That's the kind of stuff that, again, ticks me off. It's like, bro, we watching the same game. So you can't
Apparently.
And I mean, you are the deemed paid expert as it relates to, and again, like it's layered. Like, a successful football program is actually not what you do on Saturdays. It's all the other things that exist to get a successful program. So your preparation is actually what gets you to be successful on Saturday. Saturday is just the icing on the cake. So what are you doing and how are you shifting? And I don't see, and I want to see, because guess what I'm doing next week? I'm getting myself on a plane and I'm going to be in Daytona. And so I'm going to be there. Like I told my friend, it might just be me, but I'm going. And it's like,
well, I'll be on SWAC TV, so join me as Alcorn takes on Lincoln University, as it's the Braves' homecoming, as they try to get on the winning side of the record. So join me on SWAC TV at 2 p.m. It'll be myself, and I don't know who's joining me, but I'll be there. So you come and join me too.
Well, I'll be in Daytona with my Facebook Live, but and so it's disgusting to think, but. All that said, this is your program today, Unc. Congratulations, you have been hired as the New Southern University interim football coach. Where do you go from here?
Well, since I'm the interim coach and I got to keep my staff, I can't really I would get rid of some people. I really would. Yeah. First of all, I would make Coach Burrell the offensive coordinator.
Okay.
All right, that would be my first thing. I would Coach McNair, I appreciate you, but you're not bringing anything to my program right now. I would make I don't know whoever the grad assistants are, offensive line coach, because I would make the grad assistant the new offensive line coach. Coach Nivens, you've been good, but I like you. You're a Southernite, but. So that's where we're going to start. I'm putting 2 young people in charge of the offense. That's where we start. Coach, oh man, I always forget his name, but he's a special teams coach. Coach, you're going to have to find something else to do. Grad assistant, take over special teams. We're going to have to spread some of this responsibility around. So I'm making some staff shakeups and bringing. If we're gonna fail, we're gonna fail with some young, hungry coaches, for the most part. So that would be the first thing I would do. Second thing is, if Jalen Woods isn't healthy, then we're gonna run 2 quarterbacks out there, because we don't have a whole quarterback.
Yeah, and you have to, but again. So like going to that. I love that, because I was thinking.
I wasn't finished, but go ahead.
I know. Well, you interrupted me before, my boy. So go ahead. I got one thing to say, then you can continue, because I know you got a lot to say. But I think, that's my point of like utilizing what you do have. when we blocked that punt and we got the ball on like the 2-yard line, that's when you put Cam McCoy in and let him run the quarterback draw, not 7 plays later after you done dropped 35 yards and then put him in there wanting to be a drop back passer.
Yes.
That to me is where it's like, what?
Asinine.
Or we literally, when we blocked the punt, like, here's the package for Cam.
That's it.
We got to the 30-yard line, then you're going to put the boy in. What
Yes.
the hell are y'all doing?
Yes.
Anyway, continue, Coach.
I would, like I said, I would bring in a grad assistant, a new O-line, and if those young guys, if the old guys are not getting it done, so if I got my number 2s or number 3s, if we're gonna lose, we about to put these young guys out here and let them get some experience. Who knows? Maybe they are seeing, maybe they come out to play because the guys that we have now aren't doing it on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to run the ball and play action off the run. We're going to dial up more blitzes on defense and try to put some pressure on the opposing team to make some mistakes. We're going to work on pass catching drills for our defensive backs so they can catch the ball. We're going to work on stripping the ball for our linebacker. We're going to put some linebackers in the game who don't mind sticking their head in there and making some plays. Some guys who can move around and go in and play with bad intentions. Even if they aren't the biggest and strongest, I want guys who are willing to stick their head in there and make some plays. All right. Defensive line, we're going to play as many people as we can play. We're not going to play the same 7 guys. We're going to play as many. We're going to keep putting people out there and we're going to keep sending blitzes, and we're going to get some cornerbacks who are not afraid to put their head in there and not afraid to play man on man, and now their egos aren't so big that they worry about getting burned where they play 7, 8, 10, 12 yards and give up a 12-yard out when we call a blitz. That's not going to happen. If you do that, you're going to be on the bench. That's just me. Now, they'll say, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I know one damn thing. If we're going to be 1-4, we're going to be 1-4 going all out.
And that's my thing, again, about like winning, losing, whatever. Like, ultimately, we all want to win. We all want to celebrate a championship and all of those things. But if we going to lose, they're going to be like, man, Coach Melle had the reverses and the flips and the backwards hook and laterals, and like, man, it was fun to watch. We lost, but they put it all out, and that's what I think drives me the most crazy. Like, I don't mind winning, but it doesn't feel like every game we're putting our best foot forward. So it's like, what are you doing in practice that's not translating? Like, I ain't seen a reverse. I ain't seen a halfback pass. I ain't seen a flea flicker. I ain't seen a hook and lateral. Nothing. Halfback dive left, halfback dive right, play action down the field.
Jamel, if you had heard me on the sideline with my towel over my mouth saying, run a screen. Jackson State is super aggressive. Run a screen play, run a screen. And the kids back there going, shaking their head, not wanting to say it out loud. But so I walked off because I didn't want to influence them. But I was just like, if you just ran a screen, what are y'all looking at that? What am I looking at that y'all aren't seeing? Like, they're being super like aggressive.
They bring in the house. It felt like they were bringing the house on every play. Like, to your point, get the ball out of his hand quick. I mean, we don't need to drop back to no 30-yard, 40-yard passes. They are not working. Even when they are there, they're not catching the ball. So how do you put them in a successful position to be successful? Coach, we want you to be successful. I'm tired of looking for new coaches. I'm tired of going to a meet and greet for a new coach. Like, I'm sick of it. I just want, and so that's what we think about. So as we think about the rest of the season, you made your coaching changes. What do you predict, or what do you feel like is going to be? I mean, we have, still have a season to play. I know you want us to tank, but I mean, we still have a season to play. So
considering who's on the schedule, we are capable of beating anybody who's left on the schedule. Will we do that? I don't know, but I very well see us. Now Bethune played well against Alabama A&M. Maybe when we go to Bethune, we get put out of our misery. I don't know, but
if we go to Bethune and come back 31-7, I ain't never said I'm not going to no game.
That might be your breaking point.
If we go to Bethune, Daytona Beach, across this country, and it's 31-13 again.
Well, Bethune puts up points. We don't.
Yes, they do. And they put up a lot of them.
Yes.
Even when they playing.
There you go. So I have no expectations of the next game. It's either feast or famine. Either they're going to pull it together, which I just don't see unless there's a complete mindset, or we'll be 3 and no. Well, yeah, I think we'll be Texas Southern. And I'm hopeful we'll be Prairie View just because I just want us to be Prairie View. But I see 3 and 9 in our future.
I'm gonna start breathing now. Yeah, I mean, to BJ's point, Bethune can score the ball. They've scored on pretty much everybody they played, and we haven't found a lick of offense. So, I'm hope. I mean, again, like it's never doomsday for me. So I always have a bone of optimism in my body.
That was my optimism.
I know. I tried to, because people ask, like, what do you think? We gonna win, because that's what I truly believe. We're going, like, before the game is like, what's gonna happen? I said, I got a good feeling we're gonna win. In the first half, I was walking up the stairs like, hey, I told y'all we was doing something. But no, I mean, I'm optimistic. I mean, for the players, like for the morale of the players. I mean, with the microwavability of athletes this season, like no one wants to be on a team that is like in turmoil, because when you continue to lose, and like it just creates all kind of inner conflicts within it just really becomes chaotic in a way that I don't want that to ever be our experience, even if we're not that good on the field. So I hope that the players, that's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for there to be a report on Monday morning saying that there was a players only meeting and the players took some accountability for what they can control. I always say control the controllables. Mm-hmm. If you feel like even in my job, it's called managing up. If I feel like my boss is not doing what I need them to do to be successful, sometimes I have to manage up. And so if the players are listening, if their parents are watching, encourage your young men to call a players only meeting. Get some accountability amongst yourselves, and then hold the people who are in charge of leading you accountable. That's what I want to see. Every great team has had a story. I think about the Tim Tebow press conference when Florida was in their championship area. Like, he took ownership, accountability, and he made the charge and promise that you're going to see a better team than you've been seeing. And they didn't lose another game. Like, who's going to be our Tim Tebow this season? Take ownership from we don't have a Tim Tebow.
Well, apparently they've had a defensive players only meeting. I don't know if they had a team players only meeting, but apparently they've had a defensive players only meeting. That's what the reports I've heard. So apparently that wasn't effective. So maybe the next move is a team.
It is a team, because you don't win the game on one side of the ball. Like everybody needs to be on the same page.
Yes, that was a red flag to me. But yeah.
So yeah, I'm hopeful. Listen, I'm gonna be in Daytona. So if you're in Daytona, come sit in misery with me. I don't want to sit in misery by myself. I've been sending my friend flights all week just to feel like, hey, y'all, come to Daytona. Because at the end of the day, the players do need somebody there. Regardless of what's happening on the field, we'll debrief and cuss on Monday after the show and try to figure out what's next. There were just a lot of questionable decisions that we made. I would deem that my number one issue was game management, and you never put your team in a position to be successful, and so
my thing is all of the above.
Thank you, BJ. See you in Daytona.
Yes, my thing is all of the above: game management, game scheme, game planning, all of those things. Like, all of those things go hand in hand. Practice, weekly practice, all of those things go hand in hand. So I just don't see the light at the end of the tunnel right now. Uncle Flood is just not optimistic about what I see from the Jaguar football program. But what I am optimistic about, before we get too far, we are too far, but we need to get this in. Let's get our sponsors before we end this show. Wiley, can we get our sponsors in? Can we get the Southern University School of Agriculture in? and my man Pat in. Can we get them in before we get off the air? The Southern University Agricultural Center. Can we do that? This show is presented as our lead sponsor by the Southern University Ag Center, 225-771-2272. Hey, Wiley, do we have those fancy commercials anymore? Maybe not.
Maybe not. But thank you. Shout out to the Southern University Ag Center. Shout out to the McGee Law Firm. Continue to be supporters of Inside the Game. We appreciate McGee Law Firm. Patrick McGee over there, McGee Law Firm, 337-476-2433, 700 St. John Street, Suite 500, Lafayette, Louisiana. Need legal guidance? Consult with Patrick McGee over at the Pat McGee Law Firm. And you also can get into the game. There's ways for you to be sponsors of Unc and Coach Mel as we think we'll continue to bring this show to you. We appreciate you guys for continuously being here, for continuously engaging with us, for continuously helping us see the light at the end of the tunnel for the Southern University Jaguars. We still have a few minutes before we go, so I'm going to do a quick trip around the SWAC, Unc, and get your predictions for next week. And
I'm sorry.
Responsibility feedback from what happened this past.
Oh, and there's a big announcement too. I don't know if you've heard this before you do that the Mississippi Valley Florida A&M game will not be in Atlanta this weekend. Well, it won't be in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. As of now, there's been no conclusion. They don't know where this game is going to be held. Huh?
The game is Saturday, not next.
Yes, they have not announced it. They just know it's not going to be in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. They don't know if it's going to be moved to Valley. They don't know if it's going to be moved to another location. According to all reports, this is from HBCU Game Day, a reputable organization. The Classic in Atlanta, whatever it was, the Georgia Classic, is not going to be in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. They do not know where this game is going to be held as of this moment. So the Florida A&M Mississippi Valley, the Mississippi Valley Florida game is up in the air as to where it's going to be held. That was just announced about an hour and a half ago.
Yep, we were on the site today looking at tickets, and the Ticketmaster still had it at Mercedes-Benz. So I hope that they at least keep the game in Atlanta for the sake of, Atlanta's like, for either school, that's travel arrangements that have been made prior to.
Georgia State is available this weekend. The stadium we played in is available.
Oh, well, hopefully they send them into Georgia State. We got to do better. Anyways, we talked about this game a little bit. Alabama A&M 34, Bethune-Cookman 41. I thought that was a surprise outcome. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I knew Bethune could score, but I was surprised that they were able to do that to Alabama A&M. Alabama A&M has been a pretty good defensive team, so I was surprised. But going down there in Daytona, man, they'll get you. So
we'll get you. Then they have a different energy in Daytona. Alabama State 42, FAMU 14. Alabama State is for real.
Yes, they are, and their defense is coming together. The defense was kind of the weakness of that team. They're healing, they're getting players back, and they're getting it together. So that showdown between Alabama State and Jackson State is coming. I'm interested to see that.
All right, that is like homecoming weekend, I think. Yeah, early predictions looks like at this point Alabama State and Purdue SWAC championship, but a lot of football to play. Texas
Not
Southern
Purdue.
Texas Southern 20.
Conor Maynard won't make it to the championship. Tremaine Jackson won't make it to the championship.
You keep saying that and the people keep winning. But anyway, Texas Southern 23, Mississippi Valley 20.
Texas Southern came back and won that game, huh?
They did. Valley was doing a big one.
I was rooting for Valley. I really was.
They're gonna get somebody. They always do.
Yes.
Alcorn 20, Arkansas Pine Bluff 24.
I was surprised by that one, but not surprised. Alcorn is really a bad team. They're as bad as we are, if not worse.
Yeah, I would say worse. I thought Pine Bluff would take it. And Grambling 13, Purview 28.
Grambling is a bad team too. I don't know why people like Grambling is a really bad team. Has anybody actually watched Grambling? I'm not surprised that Purview beat them. Like, I said Grambling might pull. I predicted Grambling would win because I just picked against Prairie because I just don't like them. But Grambling is a bad team.
Yeah, I don't know what they saw that we didn't see. And then the coach came out this week talking about quarterback play, and that was also some very interesting commentary around what his expectations of his quarterback. But, that's neither here nor there. We'll talk about that on another show. Quickly, predictions for next week. Should be an interesting game. Well, I'll save that one for last. Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and Texas Southern.
Woo! At Texas Southern?
At Texas. Well, yeah, at Texas Southern.
I'm going to go with the home team in that one.
Because that's also another hiccup because the game has been moved from where they typically play at to Houston Baptist because of some other stuff. It's a whole.
Oh, I'm going with Pine Bluff.
It's a whole drama.
Okay, I'm going with Pine Bluff.
They play that game at too, but it will be the city of Houston. We do know that.
Yeah, well, I'm going. Everybody plays in the city of Houston. So if they're not playing where they normally play, I'm going with Pine Bluff. Pine Bluff for the victory.
Scream that you just literally switched from Compass. They still in Houston, Doug. That's so sad. Okay, Purview is traveling to Lorman to go to Jag. I think this might be Alcorn's first home game of the season.
Yeah, that's Purview. I'm hopeful for Alcorn, but I'm going with Prairie View in that game.
It's hard picking against Alcorn and Jack Spinks, even when they're at their worst. Florida A&M is traveling to Valley.
I'm going with Florida A&M. As bad as I want to go with Valley, I'm going to go with Florida A&M in that game.
Valley's going to make it 2 years in a row with Florida A&M. Bethune is thankfully traveling to Alabama State, so maybe they'll be a little beat up by the time they get to us.
They play Alabama State traditionally tough, so I'm gonna go with Alabama State, but I think that might be a tough ball game. And like I said, Bethune can score. They can score, and anytime you can score, you got a chance.
And what I would think is probably the SWAC game of the week in Mobile, Alabama, in the Gulf Coast Classic. Jackson State is taking on Alabama A&M.
Jackson State. But I would. Sam Shea's gonna have his team ready, but I would go with Jackson State. And by the way, the guy who puts on that game, who is the organizer and promoter, he's a Southern Knight. So if y'all not going to check out, Southern isn't playing this weekend. Southern is taking on bye, so that ought to be a close game. I'm sure we'll find a way to pull it out though against the bye week. But I'm gonna go with the Jags again versus the bye week. But the guy who's putting on that game is a Southern alum. He's a really good guy. So if y'all want to check out some football, go check out Jackson State, Alabama A&M down there in Mobile. Support the Jaguar. He's a former Juke too, Tim. So go down there and check it out. And it should be a nice game. It was well organized.
Very, 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 very. I love the Gulf Coast Classic. I look forward to the time when we
Gulf Coast Challenge.
Yeah. Yep. I love that game. Mobile does a really good job of putting on that game, and I really enjoy it. So I look forward to we going back. That's SWAC football for the week. Quickly, NFL Sainting, Dallas and Cowboys in a 40-40. I mean, Dallas and Cowboys. Dallas and Packers in a 40-40 tie, and we lost our first game to the Jaguars. Any initial NFL thoughts, Colts, in our last 30 seconds?
We lost to the Jaguars.
I was like, man, I wish this Jaguar team could have been playing on Saturday.
We lost to the Jaguars.
We lost there. I mean, everybody has those moments, and that's
it is what it is. And besides, we're banged up. We'll be okay.
We're banged. Big game on Thursday against the Rams in LA. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us. That is Inside the Game. We hope to see you all. We typically don't have shows when we have bye weeks, so we will see you on the 13th when we play or have a result from what happened.
Unless y'all want to contribute and sponsor, then if y'all run up the contributions and the sponsorship dollars, be a part of the action, then we'll have a show next week.
We will have a show next week. Otherwise,
if you guys run it up.
Otherwise, we will see you guys after we play Bethune-Cookman. If you're not busy and you can get to Daytona, come one, come all. We can debrief and have a show live after the game if we win or if we lose. As always, I'm loyal. We're loyal. Go Jags, and take us out of here.
Man upstairs says the same. We'll be back at the same time in the same place because, as always, we'll take you inside the game.
Peace.